Hi, this is going to be lesson 1, Introduction to the Bass by Big Harry, bass player of 50 years experience. Now you may scoff at that and you may be impressed, but it's only a matter of longevity. This course is mainly designed for the tyro bass player, young, or you don't have to be young, but beginner, because that's the best place to start, is without too many preconceived notions, which will no doubt lead you astray in your efforts to become good bass players. The bass is the heart and soul of any band. The pulsating pulse, pulsating pulse. Well, what else does a pulse do? The pulsate. Anyway, if you're in a disco or you're at a concert, it's the bass that gets you going, And the simpler and less controverted and convoluted the bass part is, the easier it is for your audience and your bandmates to groove. Although that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have to, that you're just going to play the root of every chord that comes into view, Anyway, I'm sure you're confused already, as I am. But nevertheless, I'm going to show you my bass. This is my trusty Fender. Let's see here. Let's see, it's a nice old Fender bass. And there's really no need to show you anything at the moment. Let's start with the strings of the bass anyway. Well, anyway, the bass has a couple of controls for tone and volume. Here's the pickup. This is the neck. These are the gears, your tuning gears when you're restringing. And your fretboard. Here, you got your little dots here. So this top dot corresponds to a G. Second dot is an A. Third dot is a B. Fourth dot is C sharp, and it rolls down to the double dot, which I suppose might be called an octave, and the double dot is a E. Then you go down to another dot down here, that's G. The next dot is A, B, and the final dot is another C sharp down all the way here, but not many people need to get all the way up to the, what fret is it, G, C. Anyway, it's good to know. Remember now that the most important thing you're going to learn is the names of the strings. And that's E, your bass E, your bass A, your bass D, and your bass G, your G bass here. Those are the open strings. When you press your finger on a fret, that moves the note up a half step per fret. Okay? Half step, whole step. A whole step is G to A, and a half step is B to C. There are two half steps, B, C, and E and F. B, C, E, F. B, C, E, F. And your whole steps are F, G, G, A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G. Okay, that half step, whole step relationship is integral in formulating a good head about the bass. The simplest concept is that if the guitar player or the keyboard man's playing a G, you want to play a G2, which is up here. Whatever. Remember to figure and look for your G notes. That's your first homework assignment. Find every G note on the bass. Memorize it, play it. See if you can figure out a scale to play encompassing the G note that sounds harmonically or melodically satisfactory to your ear. In other words, you don't want to play too many dissonant notes at this point, unless you're playing with Cecil Taylor's Ghost or something. But if you're just going to be playing your Taylor Swiftian modalities, you want to find your G notes. Remember, there's G notes on every string. There's an open G note and the G note octave down here. Remember, starting with G. So your next note, if we're using sharps, for instance, sharps and flats are what are called enharmonic notes. It could be sharps or flats. So let's say if we use sharps, G, the next half step is a G sharp. Then you have an A sharp, B, C. Remember, there's a half step relationship between the B and C. Then there's a D. Remember, we stepped up a whole. From the D, there's an E, which is also a whole step relationship. Following the E, there's an F. And of course the next fret would be an F sharp, and then you're back to G. So the amount of frets, now remember the octave is this G. So a quick way of knowing where the octave of the G is, you play the open G, then you hit the G where the double dots are on your bass. Your bass should have double dots. So learn all your G notes. That's number one. If you got a guitar playing buddy, have him play a G or run, you know, G, C, and D. And find the notes that seem appropriate, you know, for the riff he's playing or she's playing. Or if you don't have a companion, or you don't have a tape machine, or you don't have one of those modern doodads that enables you to lay down some tracks, or you have a drum machine or a rhythm machine or a synthesizer or any, you know, files. There's all kinds of shit now that you can utilize so that you can practice. But the first thing, remember, memorize your E, A, D, and G, and from that you must learn each note on the fretboard. There's no excuse for not knowing the notes. Practicing where to find them, developing dexterity, knowledge of the fretboard. It's number one. You know, this is not, you know, some kind of finger exercise. You know, you can do that whacking off. This is a study. Use your mind. Your mind's a lot more nimble than just using brute strength. You know, and don't be a fool. You know, learn the notes and then put on a record or a tape or your MP3 player, whatever you got. Pick out your favorite song and learn the bass part. Try to figure out the key. Of course, this presupposes that you have a tuner and a bass, and that you're going to tune up and that you're going to be in tune. Although I'm not going to be a stickler about it. Some people are so pumped up about learning that they don't even have time to tune. But you're never going to make too many musician friends unless you're tuned up. And believe me, they'll be very happy if you have a good ear and you can tune up quick and help them tune up. Although these days, again, we live in the age of helping devices. There's all kinds of tuners. There's tuners attached to your equipment, loudspeakers, your amps and all that. And there's no better and more rewarding experience than playing the bass, especially if you work your way up and you get into a situation where you're amped up sufficiently so you feel the breeze blowing your pants around, and you hit a bass note and you feel like you're on a Starship Cruiser. Believe me. And of course it helps to listen to your drums. Listen to the drums develop their kind of symbiotic relationship. You know, listen to as much music as you possibly can, and different kinds of music. Don't just be stuck in whatever groove you're currently fascinated by, whether it be death metal, you know, Taylor Swiftian pop, Latin rhythms, hip-hop stylings, rock and roll, classical, jazz, smooth jazz, old jazz, soul. You know, the bass is very important in soul music. It's important in all music. So let's see if you remember what you were taught here. The most important thing that you got to know is the notes. You see? The notes on the board, because that will enable you to quickly move from G to G. So it's second nature to you. There's a little G down here on the double dot fret. Open G here. On the D string, naturally you'll find D sharp, and you'll find E, F, F sharp, G. So on the D string, the G would be located on the 5th fret. Once you figure out that the G is on the 5th fret, you should be on the D string. You should be able to figure them all out. That's your job if you want to learn bass with Big Harry. Now, when you step up to the A string, you're going to be hitting A sharp on the 1st fret, B on the 2nd, C on the 3rd, C sharp on the 4th, D on the 5th fret, D sharp on fret 6, fret 7 is E, and then you go to the halves. There's a half step between E and F, and then from F to G, that is another G. And of course on the E string, the G is the 3rd fret. Get your G's. Put that in your head. Don't be a speed freak and go up and down the fretboard like a maniac, because that'll get you. And remember, every time you play a different note, you make the other bandmates have to also, you know, adjust their playing to your modulations. So, you know, more careers have been ruined by busy fingers than anything else. You know, it's a little easier for your lead people and your improvisers to fool around, but the bass has to be solid. You need a solid bass. You need a reliable personality. You know, you can't get Jack Bruceian at your whims, because that'll only lead to dissension among the people that you play with. Keep it cool, keep it simple, and keep it pounding and pulsating and rhythmic. You know, and have a good sense of melody in your head. Remember, the secret of all this musicianship is in the relationship between the basic tenets, the basic notes of whatever key you're in. So if you're in the key of G, and you want to transport yourself to a D, the passing tones should be somewhere in the key of G. In other words, to get from G to D, and this is a very important concept, because that's basically what the whole complication of music's about. If it was just playing roots, every time the guitar played a G chord, you'd be on a G note, and when he switched to a C, you'd be on a C note, and when he switched, right here I'm on a D note, to a D, you're on a D note. Well, that's pretty simple. And in fact, the majority of your stuff is going to be pretty much like that. But it's the passing notes that give everybody the heebie-jeebies. That's what you're going to be learning as the course evolves, hopefully. So you want to do a passing thing from G down to the D, which is right here. So what notes would you employ? Remember, the key of G would be G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So there's one sharp in G, the F sharp. So one way to do it, you could play G, F sharp, slide down to a B, and then go over to the D as your riff. You know? Boom, 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 boom. You got that? That's your most important concept at the moment, is the passing relationships. So in other words, it would make no sense if your passing tones would be, say, all flats or sharps, all sharps, when there's only one sharp in the key of G. So if you can figure that little bundle of nerves up, it might be more than rudimentary information. As far as homework is concerned, I suggest you get on YouTube and jam along to Johnny Winter, Be Careful with a Fool. You'll find that on YouTube. Make that your first object to study. He might be in the key of C, if that's a hint, but there's no telling. But jam along to that with your bass, and look for those. Remember, if the guy's playing in the key of C, most of the action in the key of C will be concentrated. Here's your C right here on the 3rd fret of the A string. Let's see, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so the key of C is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Boom, 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 boom. Play that about 20 zillion times tonight. C, D, E, F, G. That's your major, I think. Major scale. There's all kinds of scales. Got more scales than boutiques at the mall. Plenty of scales for you to learn, but I wouldn't worry about it too much at the moment. Just find your G notes. G, 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 until it spills out your eyeballs. You know, because most kids that I see, or most beginners, are completely ignorant about anything concerning notes. They hear some music, they learn a chord or two, and you know, most of them are like little geniuses. They figure shit out, but they don't know what they're doing. So if you tell them, you know, if you're jamming with them and you tell them to play something in D, they don't know what you're talking about. Well, that will hold you back. So you learn your fretboard. You know, pour over it, even if it makes you crazy. You get yourself a pint of brandy or something, or a 6-pack, and just study those relationships. G, C, D, C, F, G, A, D, E, E, A, B, D, G, A. That's your tonic, your 4th, and your 5th. You know, tonic, dominant, subdominant. tonic, subdominant, dominant. That's very important to know, because if you're jamming or playing, you know, if they kick off the song in the key of C and they're going to switch generally from another chord, they're going to play something in the vicinity of F, G, or if they're going to a minor, the minor of C would be A minor. Okay. The minor chord is generally the fourth note of the scale. So, right, let's see, C, D, E, F, G, now it's a 6. C, D, E, no, C, D, E, F, G, A. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6. So you take the 6th note, and that's your minor. And that works for all keys. So by the time you get to the 6th note of G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E. So your minor in G is E minor. So if you got a buddy or girlfriend that's playing the axe, tell them to jam in G with an E minor, and it's better than fucking, you know. No nuts. Jamming's good for your ear, good for your imagination, but bad for your discipline. You know? Become disciplined. It's all about discipline. Study hard. Familiarize yourself with tuning and with the open notes of the bass, E, A, D, G. And from the open notes of the bass, you derive the other notes. Remember, the relationship per fret is a half step. Each fret means that you're going up. Up the fretboard means you're going up. So up is from D to E. That's up. Down is from E to D. Okay? Anyway, I'll leave that discussion as it is. Let's see what we got here in the riff spec. Here we got the Funky Poets here. Funky Poets. That might be interesting record to listen to. And here's another one to broaden your mind about music. Giuseppe Verdi, highlights from La Traviata and highlights from Otello. You knuckleheads out there, broaden your horizons. Listen to Beethoven, listen to Verdi. And here's an old group that might be interesting, Arrested Development. And of course, here's a lame group they might have been from Australia, a New Zealand Aborigine band, Culture. Well, those are not groups that I really listen to, but it's just something for you to, yeah, here's Leading Men. This will give you a good background. You'll probably find these guys on the YouTube, which is a fine source of musical stuff. You got Frankie Lane singing Lucky Old Son, O.C. Smith, Little Green Apples, Tommy Edwards doing the famous All in the Game. If you got a pencil and paper, write this shit down. Johnny Cash is Walking the Line, simple tune. Should be able to figure out a bass part for that. Another nice song to learn if you ever plan weddings and confirmations. Spanish Eyes by Al Martino. Bobby V, The Night Has 1,000 Eyes. These schlock tunes are very good because they have lots of chords and lots of movement, although that's not what I recommend at the moment for beginners. But if you're advanced and you're looking in, these songs will do you some good if you don't listen to them. Bobby Darin, Mac the Knife, excellent tune for everybody of all skill levels. Oh my bum bum, boom 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 boom. Get that. And that's about it for this. Well, this is Billy Eckstein. I apologize for advanced thinkies. Alright, that's your homework assignment. Make sure you tune up. Make sure that you're dedicated. You know, good luck on the bass. And we'll be back for another lesson with Big Harry.